Today is Wednesday, Parashat Pikudei. Tonight will be Rosh Chodesh and Adar, which means the second month of Adar. Why is it that we have 2 months of Adar? And why is it that Rosh Chodesh is actually 2 days? If it's the beginning of the month, it should be 1 day. But this Rosh Chodesh Adar, which is the beginning of the second month of Adar, is actually 2 days of Rosh Chodesh. Tonight it starts, meaning like tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday also. Why is it 2 days of Rosh Chodesh? And why is it 2 months of Adar? Well, the Jewish calendar goes by the lunar month. In other words, every time that a new moon starts, we start a new month. And every time that we get to the end of the month, and we start the next month again, the next month we start Rosh Chodesh, the beginning of the month. However, the cycle of the lunar cycle, the cycle of the month, when you go by the moon, is not exactly 29 days or 30 days. It's 29 days and 12 hours and a certain number of minutes and a certain number of seconds. And therefore, since it's basically 29 and a half days, some of the months in the Jewish calendar have 30 days in them, and some of the months have 29 days to compensate for that 29 and a half days. So like, again, some months 29 days, some months 30 days. Basically, as a rule of thumb, half of the months are 29, half of the months are 30 days. And therefore, when the month that concludes has 30 days, we relate to that day of the 30th day as the beginning of Rosh Chodesh. So we have the 30th day of the month that just lapsed, and the first of the next month that is about to start. Both days are considered to be Rosh Chodesh, because we cannot start the beginning of the month in the middle of the day. So we do it that way. When the month that concludes is only 29 days, and the next month starts with the first day of the month is Rosh Chodesh, only 1 day of Rosh Chodesh. Now, why is it that we have 2 months of Adar? Well, when you go by 12 months of 29 and a half days, we are short 11 days compared to the solar year. So, those 11 days difference between the 12 months of the lunar cycle and the solar cycle, which is 365 days and a quarter, those 11 days causes the holiday to move backwards every year. And we don't want Pesach to happen in the winter. So every so often, we add an extra month of Adar to make sure that Pesach happens always in the springtime. And how often do we do that? It's done 7 times every 19 years. So every 2 or 3 years, we add an extra month of Adar to make sure that the Pesach happens in the springtime. So some years, like this year, Pesach will be around the 15th of April. The following year, you'll move back 11 days, the following year another 11 days, and then we might adjust it right away to the following, so that we make sure that Pesach always happens in the springtime. The calendar now is set for centuries, but they used to always go by sighting the moon starting. That's when Rosh Chodesh would be declared. And regarding the adding of the month of Adar was a decision that was taken by a qualified court to decide, yes, the time is still too cold for Pesach to happen, let's add another month of Adar. But nowadays it's set already in a calendar, so 7 times every 19 years, in a certain type of a sequence, is added another month of Adar, and the holiday of Purim is celebrated in the second month of Adar, not in the first one. And there are some other implications in terms of the date of yahrzeit, of an anniversary for somebody who passed away. When you do a market, make some interesting situation in terms of the conclusion of the 12 months of Avilut, of mourning. You have also some things that come into play having to do with the Bar Mitzvah, etc. But in general, the rule of thumb is what is celebrated in terms of the date of Purim is on the second month of Adar. The first month of Adar, we call it Purim Katan, a small Purim. Still, we mark it with certain type of celebration, not saying Tachanun, etc. But the main one that is observed is in the date that comes in the second month of Adar. So we are Somchim Geula li Geula. We make so that the Geula, the redemption from Haman, is close to the redemption from Paro in the month of Nisan. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen.